Yes, everybody, welcome back to Stretford Paddock. My name is Stephen Howson. This is the transfer review, and the one thing that we've got in lockdown is it seems that transfers are happening. It seems like United are pushing on and getting stuff done. I'm seeing some absolute lies on Twitter accounts. Apparently last week United had this is not true, right? I'm just going to bracket that. This is not true, but this is what some Twitter accounts have been going on for one. Pogba signed a new deal. Gomez signed a new deal. Thomas Partey's release clause was activated. We'd approached and signed Sal Niguez. Sancho got the deal done. I tell you what, considering it took us 6 fucking months to get 3 transfers done in the summer, getting all that done in a week, lockdown or not, was bloody impressive, wasn't it? It's a shame it's absolute bollocks. Either way, there's a few ins and there's potentially a few outs, so let's get stuck straight into them. Mystery striker. So it's a mystery, and I might have texted people around this story and said, who the fucking has the mystery striker? And they was like, no, it's a mystery, we don't know. Oh, okay. So it wasn't someone trying to be coy and saying, look, there is a striker and I know his name and I'm not going to give his name out. Everyone was like, no, there is some sort of striker that we don't know who it is at the moment, though. So obviously Ighalo gets thrown into the mix there. Is it potentially Ighalo? Well, yeah, I think Ighalo would be a very sensible option. If you was able to get him in as a squad player, why wouldn't you? He obviously loves the club. He's taken to the club fantastically and settled in brilliantly. What reasons would you need to get rid of him? Unless it was a wage issue or it was an issue with getting him out of China. What would be the issue? I don't see an issue in the slightest. So I would be very excited if it was Ighalo. Is it someone like Moussa Dembele? Is it still Haaland? Which is crazy to suggest, but this is Raiola we're dealing with. I don't know. There was some talk yesterday that I saw that Haaland's still very much in the frame for a Manchester United transfer at some point. You're like, wow, who could it be? Is it someone totally out of left field that we've never even thought of? Probably is. So, mystery striker. How'd you give a rating on a mystery striker? So, fuck knows out of 10. Jadon Sancho's obviously going to be a big part of whatever happens in terms of transfers. There's so much talk coming out. I mean, you can cite as many different sources as you want. Everybody from Raphael Honigstein that I had on my podcast on my channel this week saying that United are very much going to make him their number one choice. We've got our own sort of insight into what's going on with Jadon Sancho through some of the people that are at Stretford Paddock. We know that he's very keen on the Manchester United move. My stance on it, from my take, is that, look, I think Sancho's up for this move. I think United are very much up for this move. I think Dortmund are very much up for selling. So surely it's an open goal, right? Not necessarily, because Dortmund might have a figure in the mind, United might have a figure in the mind, and things come up last minute. So I'm not going to be giving Sancho a 10 out of 10. I don't even really want to give it a 9 out of 10, because that's just like on the precipice of it falling in, isn't it? I'm going to say 8.5 out of 10. Jack Grealish. So Jack Grealish started off lockdown by deciding to be an absolute turbo bellend and going out and driving his car, possibly drunk, and hitting other cars. Not a good look. Now, a lot of people then started to go, right, well, Solskjaer's spoken extensively about the sort of character that he wants at Manchester United. Is this the sort of character that you want at Manchester United? And since that, actually, it looks like the move has just developed to the point where it could be getting done. So I do wonder, has Ornstein sort of been told something, and to like, has it looked too obvious that it's on, and he's been told to, look, go chill it out a little bit, make it so it's less obvious that it's going to happen. Maybe say that you think that this is being eased off a little bit. I know he's got flawless contacts at Manchester United. He's saying that, no, United aren't in for him and they're focusing more on a holding midfielder rather than his position. Then you've got Rob Dawson from ESPN. He's come out and he said United still want Grealish despite the lockdown incident. And then obviously you've got loads of people saying like, look, this is really on, like, sort of thing. The word I was getting in like December was Jack Grealish was Manchester United's number one target. And I was like, number one target? And that was from an agent, and agents speaking, everything's the best and the biggest and the number. They're all like Trump, right? So everything's the greatest in the history of the world. So I don't know if he's our number one target, but he definitely told me that he was a target. So I'm still not 100% sure where he would fit in alongside it. I am going to try and explore that and the reasons for why maybe we see him out wide more than perhaps down the middle. But I think Grealish is somebody that we want. And I think that he's ahead of Maddison in our list simply because he would probably cost about half as much. And that's a massive factor because you could probably get 2 players. Thomas Partey is what I'm going to be talking about next. And if his release clause is in the 50 million kind of range, and you can go and get Grealish for 50 million and Thomas Partey for 50 million, why would you spend 100 million on James Maddison? Because 2 is better than 1. And we definitely need the depth. We've allowed so much good talent to go out of the club lately that we absolutely need it. Jack Grealish to Manchester United feels very, very, very likely, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Thomas Partey then in the ESPN, their article that they've got linking him to United and Arsenal, also Inter Milan. To be honest, with the release clause being as low as it is, I think he's an excellent buy for anybody that can be asked paying the money for him. Everybody probably saw the performance that he put in against Liverpool. Peach of a performance. I was really impressed with Sal Niguez that night, but absolute peach of a performance there from Thomas Partey. And I'd be very excited if Manchester United signed him. I like what McTominay's doing and I like what Fred's doing, but you've got to remember this is a squad game. Liverpool's starting 3 still has an entirely another 3 in midfield that comes in. Looking at the standards they've set over the last couple of years, that's the sort of thing we need to be attaining to. Scott McTominay, if you look at United's previous teams, and I don't mean to single him out, but this is the truth, Scott McTominay, is he of the level of an Owen Hargreaves or a Michael Carrick in 2008? No is the answer, despite him being very well improved. Is he of the standard of Roy Keane or Paul Scholes in 1999? No is the answer. But he is a capable footballer, and he's certainly someone in the squad. I think McCullough said something great the other day where he said, if we can get to a level where he's our squad player, we'll probably be doing all right. And I absolutely agree on that. What he's trying to say is, when Nicky Butt was a squad player, he was a squad player because he had Roy Keane and Paul Scholes in front of him. When you had Darren Fletcher as a squad player, it was because you had probably Owen Hargreaves for at least a year and Paul Scholes and Michael Carrick in front of him. That's what you want to get to. You want to get to where McTominay is that sort of character, because I think that's where his level is. And I don't think that's a diss. Some people will definitely see that as a diss because that's what they do. But that's not necessarily a diss. I think he's got some great attributes and he could be a great footballer for Manchester United. But if he's the first name on a team sheet, I'm not sure that we're going in the right direction there. So I do like having him around. I think he's been fantastic this season when he's been played, and I think it was obvious how much we missed him at times. But I think you can improve on him. I think there's world-class players out there, and I wouldn't put Scott in that world-class category. Someone like Thomas Partey coming in, I think he comes in and you go, oh yeah, you start. Yeah, you fucking start when you're fit, and Scott plays in some games when you need a night off. And I think that's building towards the sort of squad that I think we're trying to get to. So, unfortunately, I can't give this any more than a 4 out of 10 because I don't see any concrete links. Linking was with him, but it sounds like his release clause is there. He's probably open to a move. Someone's probably going to snap him up. Let's hope it's United. That was the ins. This is the outs. And, of course, there's one or two. Yes, we're talking about Pogba, but we'll get to him in a second. Chris Smalling. Now, Laurie Whitwell in the Talk of the Devils podcast saying Smalling looks like he's going to move on, but the door hasn't been shut on him returning to United. I think this is a United tactic of late. They say that they want everybody. They was like, oh yeah, we want Ashley Young to stay, and at the same time shoving him out the door. We want Lukaku to stay, at the same time shoving him out the door. I think Solskjaer, what he's doing when he does that is preserve the relationship with the player if the move falls through, which is big, and also reserves the value of the player. It's political. It's not exactly what he thinks. There's no way that he wants to bring Chris Smalling back the way he allowed him to go so quickly. And at the same time, he's trying to bring in other centre-backs. So actions speak a lot louder than the words in press conferences. Chris Smalling to stay at United? It could happen because he's probably on substantial wages that others probably feel he's not worth. So finding someone that's going to either give him a contract that he's up for accepting or get him to take a pay cut is going to be difficult. But I do think it's probably pretty likely. So I'm going to say 7 out of 10. Here we go, the weekly Paul Pogba update. So Fabrizio Romano, who I'm hoping is going to be coming on my podcast pretty soon, has been talking and he's saying that Pogba returning to Juventus is the priority for Juventus. They're going to try hard to sign him this summer. They're the only one that has really shown any kind of interest in him either, I mean, they've not really done it publicly, but you know what I mean, through the press and things like that. Everyone assumed he was going Real Madrid for a bit, but there's not been any talk of that. Everyone just assumed it. We all decided he was going Madrid without anybody giving any evidence that they wanted him and what was up for paying him. Going back to Juventus, the issue I have with this as a transfer that I couldn't just go, yeah, because it makes sense. They do spend money on transfers. They've just asked all their players to take a pay cut, and there's talk of some of the players wanting to leave because of the pay cut and for the ramifications that we're going to see because of the coronavirus. I think if Juventus went big, it probably because they're expecting someone to leave. Now, the big assets they've got, Ronaldo, even at this age, is still a huge asset. Could they get a big transfer fee from him? And who would be willing to spend that sort of money on Cristiano Ronaldo now? Or is it even a possibility that could go? I don't know the answers to that. I don't know if the answer is that they've got money and don't worry about it. I don't know if they're just gone, fuck it, we're prepared to pay whatever to get him back here. I don't know the answers to that. Pogba's been on the United Hangout and podcasts and stuff recently, and people are led to believe that he might be staying. The media side is separate to the playing side of what goes on. Solskjaer doesn't have an approved list of who goes on the podcast and stuff like that. The media team approaches the players, and the players, then decide whether they're going to do it or not. He might have done these out of sheer boredom, and if you listen to the words that he said, there was one line that got me, which is like the things he wants to win with United. He said the Europa League and the FA Cup. Coincidentally, the two cups that were in this season, you didn't mention winning the Champions League. You didn't mention winning the Premier League. And that says a lot to me. Pogba to stay at United, or Pogba to leave United, because let's say it's leave, because I did leave with Smalling, didn't I? I think it's pure 50-50 at the moment. I think he'll stay if he can't find a club, or if someone comes in willing to pay him, I think he would be off. I don't think there'd be much resistance from him if it was Real Madrid or Juventus. But you're looking at 3 clubs in the world, potentially, that would be interested in signing him. So there's not many places for him to go. But that is it for this week. Thank you guys for the continued support of the channel throughout this lockdown. Loads of you have been still watching what we've been up to. Loads of you have been still getting involved in the comments. We do read most of the comments, so get in there. We'll make sure people are starting replying to you in the comments and stuff like that. But if you'd like to support the channel further, then there's a join button below where you can come and check out all extra perks. We've got extra podcasts. You get all sorts of emojis and things like that. And if you go in at the Legends tier, you're going to get merch sent out to you every month. So it's definitely worth checking out. Cheers for the support throughout the lockdown. And trust me when I tell you there's some absolutely monumental things about to happen with Stretford Paddock as soon as we get out of this lockdown. But cheers for watching. Laters.